Okay, well, you are having some fun with live streaming. I forgot to go live. This is great. Which I guess is fine because I accidentally was showing the wrong stream or the wrong screen. It wasn't quite the screen that I wanted. So let's go ahead and we're going to hop over to the screen that I was wanting. And then if there are any questions, I can answer those when I hop back over because I want to use Canva. And for some reason, it won't work with Restream. I'm having a hard time figuring it out. So let's go through this one more time. All right, we're going to go back to the beginning. All right, we're going to talk about garden planting, soils and mulches. This is going to be the very kind of baseline. This is your support or undergirding for all of your plants and how they are going to grow. And they'll grow this year and they'll grow from in the next several years. All right, so this is the USDA plant hardiness zones. And all of these zones, let me get back onto my notes. All right, so the hardiness zones are an average annual minimum temperature. So this is going to go back over the past 10 years. And these zones, they vary by 10 degrees for each zone. Now there are subzones that are delineated between A and then B. So for instance, I live in 6A. Just to make sure that I have a really good chance of my plants succeeding, I bump the numbers up. I bump myself up to zone 5, which is colder. Next, we are going to talk about sun direction. And this is going to determine how much sun your plants are getting during the day. And this is something that you're going to have to consider when you look at the little tags on your plants. A lot of them are going to say full sun or partial sun. This is going to help you decide what plants you want where. So your south-facing gardens, they're going to get the most sun exposure. And that's going to be from sunrise to sunset all day long. And as long as it isn't shaded by trees, then it's going to get sunlight all day long. North-facing gardens are going to get the least amount of sun exposure. If these are close to your home, they might be entirely shaded all day long. So these are going to be your low light plants. East-facing gardens, they're going to have sun in the morning, and then they're going to be in the shade in the evening. West-facing gardens they're going to be a little bit dimmer in the morning, but get lots of bright sun, direct sun in the afternoon. And that's something that has to be taken into consideration because they are going to get a lot of sun in the heat of the day. And the next one I wanted to talk about is, I forgot my sun directions. I didn't go through. Let's scooch on through those. Okay, we're going to talk about soil types and amendments. This is going to be sort of like, it's going to be kind of fertilizer and that type of stuff that you add to your soil. And I'm a little bit more on the green side of doing things. So items that I like to use are garden compost, wood chippings, processed conifer bark, sterilized manure, and peat moss. Peat moss is very good for holding in water, and manure is a lot of nutrients. And usually, people whose gardens take off real fast, that's what they're using. That's the magical thing, is manure. And the manure, it's sterilized, so it doesn't smell. Okay, and then we're going to take a look at, don't know how that, I'm going all the way through these all wrong. So your sandy soils, these are going to be light, dry. They're going to be warm and low in nutrients and often acidic. So this is the type of soil that I would be inclined to add a lot of peat and a lot of manure to. Now, clay soils, that's what I have where I live. And fortunately, they already have a lot of nutrients in them. They are very cold and wet in the winter, but they bake dry in the summer. And if you have clay soil where you live, you know how it is to try to work with that in the summer. And then next we are going to look at silt soil, and that's kind of the soil that we saw at the very first slide about talking about soils. That's it's kind of very loose, and it's easy to plant with, but it's also easily compacted. That's usually what comes in your house plants, is silt soil. And then the next one is chalky soils. They are very alkaline. They can be very light or very heavy. Now, peat soils, that's something that comes over from the UK, from peat bogs. And as time passes, it's getting to be more and more of a concern, as the peat bogs are getting depleted. So if you're a big fan of peat soils, then you are going to want to look for some other organic matter and something that's going to hold water for you. All right, and the next issue is soil testing. That's going to tell you, you're going to send that into your state college, your extension board. They're going to be able to provide a lot of direction as to what labs you can send that into. And then a lot of times the labs, they have a website, and they're going to show you how to send in those samples for them to test. They're going to be able to tell you the soil texture, organic matter amount, all the nutrients that are in your soil. So you can really get a very kind of targeted plan for planting any plants that you want to. All right, we're going to hurry up here and talk about mulches. And mulches, these hold in a little bit more water. They're not just decorative. And then as time passes, they also break down and they become a part of the soil in your garden. Now here at the top right, I think it's your right, top right, that is pine bark, and it's shredded or chunked pine tree bark. Cypress mulch is made up of chipped or shredded wood and bark from pond cypress trees. Most of them are usually down south, like in I think probably like your Alabama, maybe South Carolina, Louisiana, Georgia kind of areas. Not 100% where cypress trees grow, to be honest. Cedar is also a really good option because usually it isn't treated with any harsh chemicals. But you do want to confirm and you want to steer yourself away from the dyed cedar. And you do want to confirm that. Make sure you ask extra questions about it. I would even ask questions and then check. Sorry. Give me 1 second. Let me hold on. All right, I'm back. Thank you for your patience. The next kind of mulch is one that I think is a very interesting mulch that I have seen down in South Carolina and Georgia. I think it's very pretty and I like the texture, but it's an iffy kind of mulch for dogs. It can be a dog friendly choice with the one caveat, but as long as your dog isn't the type to eat things that they shouldn't be eating. Actually, that's something that should be considered for all kinds of mulches. All right, here we come to the last uh, mulch. And actually, all of these mulches, they should be put down. You would put down weed matting over your soil. Then you are going to cut like an X where you want to plant your plants. Then you're going to put down your mulch. Now, stone, it's something that's not going to break down, and it stays around for probably decades as long as you have weed matting with that. Once again, like the pine needle straw mulch, that's going to be something that you are going to have to be aware of. That if your dog is the type to eat rocks, this is something that can easily get caught in their stomach and end up, $3,000 or $4,000 vet bill to get it out. Another solution to that is if your dog is the type to eat stones or rocks, while you are training your dog to leave the stones and rocks alone, you can put a basket muzzle on them. It's a basket muzzle, or they're also called yard muzzles. And these are muzzles that are actually specifically, usually they're made for greyhounds while they are in the dog yards before they race at the racetracks. So I'm going to hop on over here. I'm going to see if we have any questions. I don't expect. Okay. So looks like it's been pretty quiet over here, which is fine. If you guys have any questions, please feel you're more than welcome to put your questions in the comments below. And I will, I'm going to leave links. I'm going to add a Google Drive. I'm going to try to find a way to add Google Drive links so I can give you guys notes on all of these different resources that I've spoken about. And if you would, please like and subscribe. That really helps a new, very little channel like me get a little bit more noticed in the algorithm. So if you want to, go ahead, leave any comments, any questions. I'm more than happy to answer those, and I check back regularly on those. So I want to thank everyone for your time and, your time and focus on these different topics that are within building a canine sensory garden. So thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye.